Welcome back to the GAPcast. My name is Guillermo, here to provide you a neuroscientific perspective on pop psychology. Here with my co-hosts.
Hey, I'm Abraham, and I am here to be filled with a bunch of knowledge. And here comes Peter.
I'm Peter, like Abraham mentioned before. I'll be bringing you all the pop psychology as well as some examples to help you guys out.
All right, Peter, what do you have for us today?
All right, to start off, I'll be talking about price anchoring. Now, the example of price anchoring is basically just brings up the idea that you want to have a fixed price on a certain product. For example, if you see product A on TV and it's worth $1,000, what they want you to do is they constantly recognize that product to be worth $1,000, even though it doesn't have to be. It could be. It's once again, most likely it's found in
a used toothpick.
Exactly, but it cannot be found in standard products. It has to be something that's very malleable. In other words, it can go up, it can go down.
Yeah, so there was actually a study done by Ariel et al. About this. So basically, they showed these participants something that they had no idea how much it was worth. It was like basically a keyboard, it was like a trackpad, things that can be worth pretty much anything, right? And they told them, think of your last two digits of your social security number. And unsurprisingly, they rated the price of the product around the digits of their social security number. So the ones with high numbers gave it an expensive valuing, and the ones with lower numbers gave it a lower value. So this basically shows that businesses, they can change your perspective on the price of a product when you don't know anything about it, which is why it's important before you go into a car dealership to have a good idea of the value of a price, because what they'll do there is they'll show you expensive cars high above what you want to pay, and then they'll show you to the original car you wanted, and you'll actually be willing to pay more because you are unaware of the true value of that car. All right, Peter, what else you got?
All right, the next topic will be under priming. Forbes gives the example in which if you see two websites, one has a green background, the other one has a red with flames, and they're both selling, once again, a car. What's going to be showing off is that when consumers were looking at the green background, people are more interested in the safety features. And when you look at the red background, they're more into the pricing. Now, the way it's described is that when you're exposed to a certain stimulus, you begin to respond subsequent to that related stimulus. Memo?
Yeah, so priming is a cognitive psychology phenomenon. Basically, you are subconsciously aware of it. You actually don't know what's going on, but it has an effect on your behavior. This also shows up on tipping. So waiters can prime you into giving better tips by putting you in a good mood. And to do this, waiters, what they'll tend to do is they'll draw smiley faces on the bills and put their names, or they'll draw a sun on the bill, or touch the customer lightly on the shoulder, or they'll mimic the customer by reading the order back to them, or they'll tell a joke. And so an experiment by Ryan and Strommertz, they found that giving a moderately challenging game to customers resulted in them tipping 20% higher. So by priming them, by putting them in a good mood, waiters may actually get a higher tip out of you.
So like talking to your friend before taking an airplane flight about bomb making, and then you just keep constantly mentioning the word bomb, and then eventually your friend wants, I don't know, champagne. He gets the champagne. He says, "Wow, that champagne was the bomb."
Bomb.
You just can't stop saying "bomb" on the plane.
Yeah. So that's a priming thing. So basically, they're putting the idea of bomb in your head, and because it's in your head subconsciously, you don't even know it. It's like, that's the bomb. And you get pulled over by the TSA.
You get pulled over in the air.
In the airport, yeah. Say, sir. Anyway, Peter, what does he got?
In case you're wondering, our podcast does not support terrorism.
No, yeah, definitely not. But we do like talking about bombs. All right, Peter, what else you got?
Anyways, speaking of bombs.
No, anyways. Actually, I did have a question over priming. Does that, you mentioned a few examples. So when it comes to the stimulus of the senses, that will include every sense then, right? It includes visual, auditory. Example is that. So another example is, for example, in a Hollister, would you say this is an example of priming? The one they give off a kind of odor. Or I think it was
yes. Yeah,
yes.
So yeah, those stores. Smell is one of the most powerful senses we have to elicit an emotional response. So they brand themselves with that smell. So every time you even smell outside of the store, you immediately think of Hollister. So it's priming you to think of the store.
And the same thing happens whenever you're gonna drink something. You know, you tell your friend, "Hey, I'm gonna get you a glass of orange juice," then you give him milk. You know. Or the other way around. And then your friend throws up.
White from orange. All right, Peter, what else you got?
Moving on to the theory of reciprocity. Forbes basically just defines it under this phrase of, if someone does something for you, you want to do something for them back. You know, just common courtesy. Now, an example of that is brought to you by Referral Rock. basically discusses when some large company gives you coupons or special promotions to try to convince customers to make purchases. Now, some personal examples you might see is, for example, Chick-fil-A. If you ever gone to an opening night, they'll give you a free sandwich for a year. Now, what they're doing is they're trying to establish a relationship, so you'll go to them consistently. And even though they're giving you a free sandwich, you're going to pay back in the meal. In other words, when you pay for the fries and the drink, you're going to pay back that sandwich.
Yeah, so I was going to add on to that. So I remember reading a story by C.L. Dini. Basically, there was this group seeking donations, right? And initially, they were doing it at an airport, and people would just not give them that much money. But then the group noticed something. They noticed that if they gave something cheap to the people that were walking by, and this cheap thing was a flower that they can just pick up from the street, the people walking by were much more likely to give a tip because they felt indebted to the person. And these flowers, it didn't even mean anything to the people that were getting it. Sometimes they would literally just throw it away right after they got it. And the people that were seeking donations, they would just pick it up from the trash and give it again. So it doesn't matter if the gift means nothing. Yeah, exactly. The gift literally means nothing.
They picked it up from the trash and just like,
yeah, they would literally
look.
push it out of the bin. It would say, well, I guess they didn't want it. And they would give it out again. And they would make so much money out of that because they felt indebted to it. So whenever somebody wants to give you something for free, look out because they're trying to get something from you in return sometimes.
Peter, I want to return to the Chick-fil-A thing. I was just going to say, our pleasure always comes with a cost.
That's
an $8.99 sandwich.
But really, when you see, like, for example, you go to the mall and you see the people giving out free food samples, for example, in Sam's, they're not doing it just to be courteous. It's so we feel indebted to them. And also because when you have that sense of ownership towards that free sample, you're more willing to want to buy it.
Exactly. When businesses do something for free, it's not out of the kindness of their heart. Their bottom line, it matters. And they want to make sure that their free product, the cost of that is offset by the benefits of the purchases. I'd also like to add something about reciprocity. There is also techniques in which people use to get you to do things. There's something called the foot in the door technique, coined by C.L. Dini. Basically, if you ask for something small from someone, but then you follow it up with something bigger, you're more likely to get it if they said yes the first time. And that's because the person feels like a helpful individual and they want to keep that perception of themselves. But then there's the opposite. Then you ask for something so absurd that they say no. Say, sir, do you want to volunteer 2 hours of your time every week for the next 2 years for a charity? Well, you're probably not going to say no, yeah to that, right? But then you follow it up, okay, how about just 1 2-hour session to help take kids from the juvie to the zoo? Well, you're more likely to say yeah to that. So that's called the door in the face technique. The reason that works is because the person feels guilty about saying no the first time, and they want to fix that perception of themselves. So that's reciprocity.
Slimy.
Exactly. Businesses will do whatever they can to get you to work for them. All right, Peter, what else you got?
I like it. Actually, that is all. Right now, we've got only 3 topics to keep us short. If you guys want to hear more over these kind of topics, we'd be happy to carry on the discussion. We just need to let us know in the comments, and we'll be happy to, help further knowledge.
All right, thank you guys for joining us. My name is Guillermo.
My name's Abraham.
My name is Peter.
And we'll see you next week on the GAPcast.